Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of ChakraBoosters.com, the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos. And this is your energy forecast for June 2019. So, first of all, what I want to go over is some themes that have been just keeping on during this year, at least for our tribe, but pretty much for the planet as a whole. But I specifically want to talk to you, my tribe, and these are the themes that I hope you're keeping an eye on. So these might be familiar from the other energy forecasts I've done, and let's check back into them. The first one is this yearly theme in the 3-year of moving forward. But what's been coming up more and more now is that at this point we are moving forward in more mystery. There's more unknown. So that means more of our forward movement needs to have faith. The key here is to not stop your action, to keep taking action and continually course correcting and feeling your way as you go, and knowing that you can't really see the big picture, but if you follow each day's intuition, each day's nudge, it will lead you to the bigger picture. And there's a lot of planetary reasons, but right now there's just this extreme mystery. Like we're all on this corner and we need to go quite a ways to turn the corner to see what's down around the other side of that corner. At the same time, we still have this 3 universal year energy that is asking us to really move forward. So you're still going to want to take action, be very aware in the moment, but most importantly, have faith. The symbol that my guides give me for this is the scene from Indiana Jones where Indiana has to put his foot out in order for the invisible bridge to appear. And it's this gigantic ravine, right? He's going to die for sure if he steps onto it. And it may almost feel that way at times as we move forward right now. But if you put your foot out, the bridge will appear. So it's that kind of energy. The bridge will appear as you need it. So lots of faith. That's number 1. Keep moving, keep course correcting, and lots of faith. Stay in the 3 action of this year. Number 2 is this continuation of no drama mama. This is a year, and so far I should say this year, and it seems like it's going to continue, of us letting go of any addictions, any habits we have that revolve around drama. What is drama? It's reactivity, and it's situations where you find yourself blaming or being blamed, like being the aggressor or the victim or the mediator. It's triangulation. When there's a drama going, there's usually a good guy, a bad guy, and sometimes there's a mediator in between, right? You don't want to be any of those, not even the mediator, because in order to have drama, we need to have a story. For instance, I'll give you just a really simple example. If someone says something to you, there needs to be, if you consider it negative, there needs to be something in yourself that takes it as negative, a story that you tell yourself that allows that person's opinion to come in and affect you in a way where if you got upset, and remember I talked about this in an earlier video, that getting upset, reacting is the first act of a war. And this was originally, I'm badly paraphrasing it, but I originally got this from Byron Katie, and it was a big aha for me that it seemed to me I wanted to sometimes play the victim. So if somebody else did something to me and I reacted, I was okay to do that because they were the aggressor. But the point is that we are the ones that hold the story. If you hold solidity within yourself and you have self-love, when someone says something, it's their thing. It's not yours, it's theirs. And you don't need to react, and you don't need to start any kind of drama, right? Because if you don't tango with that, there's no drama. So this has been a big year for me, including last year. So even this was a continuation from last year of letting go of drama. I grew up in single mother alcoholic family where there was lots and lots and lots of drama, and I've had to seriously look inside my heart and say, do I need to engage in that? Do I need to, or can I just be a force for love? Can I be a force for acceptance? Can I be just this fiercely loving and hold a space of like, it's all good. There's nothing dramatic here, and there's nothing to get at war about or to take sides on. As soon as you're taking sides, gossip is the heart of drama. But if you're taking sides and getting involved in the story and believing the stories that you're telling yourself or that someone else is telling you, that's all drama. It is so peaceful. My smile has grown double since I've learned to step outside of drama, and that energy feels key this year, especially for our tribe. So, and by some of the comments I've seen from some of you. So how are you doing on that? Drop the drama. Our t-shirt is no drama mama, or no drama papa, if that's what it is for you. But we're dropping the drama. Okay, so that continues on. More peace in June of 2019. And then the third big theme that's been carrying throughout this year, and is a little bit of a carryover from last year as well, but it's really big this year, is boundaries. If you're watching this now, you're probably sensitive, empathic, spiritual type. And boundaries may be a challenge for you. They have always been a challenge for me. Up until recently, it was overwhelming. And I have really learned to set boundaries over the last year or so. And I'm inviting you to do the same. And we're going to say that no is your friend. I want you to think of using more no, but in a very conscious way. So that every time you get asked something, you feel into it. There's no automatic, okay, all right, no people pleasing, no fear of stirring the pot, right? Because you don't have to stir it. You don't need drama. You can just say no, and that cuts you out of the entire story, right? And then if someone else gets upset, that's okay, because you don't have to get upset about them being upset. Do you see? That's going back to the no drama. So your no, I want you to call it my inspired no, because we tend to think of no as negative, especially in the spiritual world. And as a sensitive being, as a loving, probably empathic being, no is your friend. And no will allow you to say yes to the things that you really, really want to do. Because much of the things you're doing right now, or many of the things you're doing, are, if you haven't learned to set your boundaries, are about things that other people got you involved in that you didn't really stop and say, is that the number one thing I want to be doing? So we're going to be setting more boundaries, continuing to set boundaries, continuing to use an inspired no, which is the no that's really, it's not even a negative no. You're not even going to presuppose or expect one's disappointment in your no, but it's a cheery, inspired no. And you certainly don't owe your explanation to anyone, but if you want to share it, I'm going to do X if you want. Only if it's exciting for you, if it's fun, right? If it's fun, but not because you feel you need to, because you don't need to. You can say no to someone. It's your time, it's your life. So we're going to continue the inspired no and setting boundaries. And that also means physically. You may have to. We talked about this in previous videos this year about needing to move out of certain relationships. You don't have to wait like an open-hearted person for someone to say goodbye to you. You don't have to. You can actually say goodbye to someone. You can still have love for them and still say goodbye. So this is in relation to anything someone might ask you, in relation to relationships, and anything else that you can think of where you might want to have an inspired no, so that you can open up more room to have power and more inspired yeses in your life. Does that feel good? So as long as the energies feel right for this, we're going to continue these carryover practices, which are very important for us, and I love them. And a bonus theme or practice would be one that I hope you never forget, and that is the one of supporting and loving yourself. Even as you watch a video, like one of my chakra videos about a chakra weakness, or dealing with your inner child, or anything else like that, it's important to remember that we aren't fixing anything. There's nothing to fix. In fact, we're doing the opposite. We are going in and we are uncovering things that have been put on top of who we really are. So It's all about revealing who you are, allowing yourself to be more you. It's not about, oh, I got to fix me, I'm not right. Can you feel that different energy? So the energy that we come at all of the healing endeavors with is an energy of acceptance and love, loving self right where we are, and at the same time knowing that we have residues on us from traumatic experiences in our life. And they could have been small, they could have been huge, but they caused us to have habit patterns. And maybe we copied our parents, other caregivers. We had really maybe some serious experiences that caused us to protect ourselves. Whatever it is, it was put on top of the essence of who we are. So we are in no means trying to fix ourselves. We're trying to just let go. Let go of the layers so we can be who we really are, because who you really are is amazing. And you have all the chakras inside of you, of all essence, potentiality, all God essence, all consciousness within you. So those are the 3 themes plus the universal theme of self-love, moving forward, always moving forward in self-love, because as you love yourself, you're also going to extend that out to others, and that's what we need on this planet. So as we move into June, can you make that agreement with me that you're going to be very, very loving to yourself and to the little one or little ones within you, and patient, loving, accepting, patient, good to yourself. So let's look at June. If you've watched my energy forecasts before, you know that I'm big on the divine feminine and the moon cycles. In 2012, we ended the Mayan calendar and we made a huge about face in the energies of this planet, to where we went from a masculine force to a feminine movement on the planet. And this feminine energy is all about embodiment, emotions, living fully, and the water of the moon. You know, the moon moves the water. The sacral chakra is the chakra that is related to the moon. It is the divine feminine. I believe just years down the road here, not too far, if someone says, what's your sign, they're going to mean the moon rather than the sun, because the moon is becoming so important. And the moon is moving in these wonderful cycles, every 28 days making a full cycle. And so at the new moon, when the moon is just a tiny little sliver, we have an opportunity. The sky is dark, it's womb-like. We have an opportunity to set new intentions, because the sky itself, the cosmos, become like the dark soil that we can plant a seed into. And then that grows over the next 2 weeks, and then we check in at the full moon. Additionally, every new moon grows for 6 months toward the full moon of its own sign. So, for instance, this month we are going to have a new moon on June 3rd, at 3:01 a.m. Pacific. I use Pacific time because I'm in Pacific. Please change it to your time zone. UTC, it's too hard for me to figure out. I don't like the math of it, so I'm using Pacific, 3:01 Pacific on June 3rd. So we got the threes there again, right? Reminding us of the action of this year. And the moon is in the sign of Gemini. 6 months from now, you can look at Gemini again and look back at the intentions that you set at this June 3rd new moon. But additionally, you can also look in 2 weeks when we're going to have a Sagittarius full moon. You can look and see how far along your intentions have come at that point as well. It's a good time to just check in. It's not really real productive to set intentions if we don't have some process of following up, of looking at them. And again, that's lovingly following up. This isn't school. This isn't where we give ourselves any negative grade or a frowny face. If it is school and you think it is school, then please promise me you're putting stars all over everything, stars and smiles, and supporting yourself. That's what your inner self will really respond to. So on June 3rd at 3:01 a.m., we have the new moon in Gemini. So I'm going to translate this into chakras as well. Gemini is the throat chakra. It's related to the planet Mercury. So if you're going to wear my Chakra Boosters healing tattoos and you feel like you need to work on your throat, that's a good time when the new moon is setting intentions in Mercury in Gemini. So what is Gemini about? We know the throat is about being your authentic self and about your purpose and about expressing yourself. All of those are very important. But because the moon's specifically in Gemini, I'm going to help you craft a few intentions, if you would like, that are around Gemini energy. So one of the big things about Gemini, first of all, it's a mutable sign, so it's a changeable sign. But one of the big things is it's a communicator. Communication, again, that's why Gemini is Mercury and throat. Mercury is the messenger, right? So we're going to look at communication, and there's two specific ways I'd like you to look at communication. And if one of them speaks to you, please consider setting a strong intention around one or both of these. The first one is self-talk. And so we're right back where I was saying about being loving to yourself. We have this inner world that's going on, and I'm very aware that right now on the planet there's some kind of portal, because not only I, but everyone around me, I'm really noticing is far more aware of their own reactions, their own inner world, what's really going on. I think we had a ability to really blank that out because it's our background that we're so aware of, but now most of us are much more aware of it. So I invite you to become even more heightened in your awareness toward your self-talk. Just catch yourself throughout the day. Are you supporting yourself? Are you criticizing yourself? Keep it that simple. So notice if you're feeling kind of down and kind of and sluggish, and if you're probably going to notice that some negative voices are going on. Doesn't matter if you've turned them into yours now, if it's your parents, or if it's a mean coach from the past, or whatever that internal voice is that you've now internalized. If you're feeling kind of down, I'm betting that inner voice is telling you something negative, like you can't do it, or you're not worth it, or you're unlovable. And none of that is true. None of that is true. If we really want to look in the world, all beliefs are just beliefs, right? Anything can be true and anything can be false at the same time. So we're really not even wanting to look at truth. We're wanting to look at what is most effective for us, what is most life affirming. And belief in yourself and love of yourself and acceptance, all those things are the most life affirming. Now here's the trick though. If you catch yourself telling yourself negative things, it won't help for you to get negative on yourself for telling yourself negative things. Does that make sense? That would be craziness, right? So if you catch yourself telling yourself negative things, first of all, those weren't your original words. They came probably from your childhood. So please have some empathy for yourself, some compassion. Like just, wow, where did I learn that? You know, how many times did I listen to that in order for me to take it in and repeat it? Just like be really kind to yourself. First of all, just celebrate the fact that you could notice it, because think of all the years it's been running in the background and you haven't noticed it. So if you notice negative self-talk, it's celebration time. First, celebration because you noticed it. Second, because you're here to befriend this part of you that was taught this negative self-talk. So you're here to say, hey, I have compassion for you. And finally, I'm going to ask you, will you do one little favor for me? One of the things that really changed self-talk for me was creating endearments for myself. And when I finally did it just spontaneously, one day I did something really, this was quite a while ago, but I did something really stupid. I don't remember what it was even. It was breaking something, I think, or tripping, which I have a tendency to do. And I heard myself say, "It's okay, baby doll." Like I heard myself call myself baby doll. Even right now, I'm about to cry just thinking about it. It was so beautiful because it was the first time that I realized that I was really cheering myself on and that I had this sweet nickname for myself instead of some other kind of name. So will you do me a favor that if your intention on the full moon is around better self-talk, will you create a beautiful nickname, a loving pet name that you would give to a beloved, and give that to yourself? Sweetheart, or whatever you want to call yourself. Honey bunches, Boo Bear. Whatever works for you. Call yourself a sweet name. Will you do that? So that's the first communication possibility. Okay, I really like that one a lot. The second one is, now can you feel how that one's kind of feminine, right? Very feminine. It's about loving self, supporting self. If you want to move more toward the masculine energy, and if you feel like you can handle both, you can do both. But toward the masculine energy, I'm going to invite you to walk your talk. Simply means keep your vows. We've got a lot of looseness around this on the planet right now, and it isn't helping the integrity. It's very important that we walk our talk. And I'm just going to let you know that if you set the intention to walk your talk more, there's two ways that you can deal with it. One, and people forget about this one, is you can be more careful, more aware when you give your word. Many of us are on autopilot. We just agree all the time. We're a yes person because we don't want to disappoint anyone else. First of all, that goes back to boundaries and having your inspired no. So bring more awareness to it and say, can I really promise this? Can I promise this to myself or to another? And even if it's as small as the time you're going to meet them tomorrow, make sure it fits for you, that it's really going to work, because you're observing whether you are following your word at all times. And the goal here with this Gemini communication new moon is to set an intention to have more impeccability with our word. It seems like every time I do one of these each month, I get at least one of the 4 agreements, right? And one of the 4 agreements from Don Miguel Luis is to be impeccable with your word, which basically means your actions also follow up on your word. So the 2 ways you deal with this, if you're setting the intention, is be more aware and give your word less. At least for this month, just be slower in how you make an agreement or a promise, and then do it less, because you don't maybe have to do it as much as you're doing it. And then when you do it, then go the extra mile, do more, go the extra mile, bring in the masculine energy to really make it happen. Don't just give up on your vows really quick. Okay, I can't make it there. No, but yeah, I can. If I do this and that and I get it done, I can get there. Or I told this person I'd show up for this party for them. I'm going to show up for them. And you show up, even if you're not in the mood. You lay down 20 minutes before and let the headache subside and you show up. Or at the very, very least, you take high responsibility where you cannot keep your word, where you got caught in an accident on the freeway and you couldn't. So you really let them know, hey, I got caught. It's not an excuse. I told you I'd be here, but I want you to know it matters to me. Right? Communication. Again, it's just back to communication. If we all communicate with each other better, we show up for each other better, we're going to have more trust in the masculine energy, which isn't real high in my personal opinion on this planet right now. Okay, so that's the first area of communication. Another area of Gemini that you might want to set an intention is mind. Gemini is all about ideas, so you may be coming up with a lot of ideas. So you might want to make an intention to just brainstorm all month and let yourself just come up with great new ideas, because it's also a month of really expansive energies from some of the planets. So more ideas. So a brainstorm. I set the intention to really brainstorm and be very open-minded, since we have that mystery I was talking about in our lives right now and where it's going. Just brainstorming and being really open to it going anywhere could be really, really cool. The second one is a little bit the opposite. Not really, but it's about grounding. And is, if you have ideas, especially ideas you're going to put into motion right away, can you ground them in reality? So sometimes we get so out there we can't ground them. So if you get these really awesome brainstorm ideas, if you decide to act on one, how can you ground it in reality? Give it masculine energy to really happen in this world. Okay, that's for the mind aspect of Gemini. Any one of these could be your intention, and I wouldn't do too many. Just do the one that really speaks to you. I'm also going to address the area of duality. Gemini is the twins, or are the twins? Gemini, the sign, is the twins. The twins are about the duality. I'm a Pisces. There's the dual fish there as well too. These dual signs, but particularly Gemini, are about duality. And I would like you to play with this in the new moon if it inspires you. I'm a total shadow geek, so I love duality, masculine, feminine, the shadow, how we engage others and project or take in some of their energy and shadows. So how can you do this? There's two ways that you can work with this duality energy. The first one is you can really play with the dual sides of yourself this month. You can make an intention to really get to know your shadow or your most out there side. Say you're really conservative. Well, I'm going to be a little more wild this month, and I'm going to let myself just really go out there. And I'm also going to let myself keep being conservative. So you're playing this month with these opposite, and that just literally stretches and expands your being. Can you feel that? It just expands you more into your full consciousness. So that's one way you can do it. Another way you can say, you could set the new intention, give me more awareness of how I might be judging others or projecting on others through shadow. So many of you know, if you haven't seen my shadow videos on this channel, you can look up shadow. I have a couple different playlists on it, and I love shadow. One of the ways you know you're in shadow is when you say, I am not. And that is because we are all a slice of the divine, which means within us we have the potentiality for everything. So that which we resist the most is that which we are not wanting to be, and that which we don't want to be is something we tend to judge others for being. So if you want to work with your shadow this month, you could set an intention to help me notice when I'm judging others and to take that quality back. Ooh, that's deep work. That's strong new moon intention around Gemini right there. It's like getting the twins to really get along instead of fight, right? And that would simply be if I look at someone and I say, oh, my boss is grumpy all the time. Well, I have to notice, where's my mood down, or where am I so afraid? This is interesting. So afraid to let my mood be down that I'm literally blocking that shadow side of myself. And then when I can find that part of myself that could be or would be sad or grumpy or down, I begin to have a softness for myself, and I begin to have a softness for the other. So there isn't that projection. So that's a little mini. You could also just dedicate yourself to doing the shadow videos on this channel. I have got a lot of them. Okay, and then, so that's what we really have. We have the mind, communication, and duality that Gemini is about. And then finally, Gemini isn't the strongest one for travel, but I've always associated Gemini and the throat chakra with travel. Because when we get to the throat chakra, we get out of the earthbound area. So heart and above, we're in like this freedom space. And we're also in a place where we can go to other cultures and tap into the magic of those other cultures without feeling like we have to drag our lower chakras with us. We have to bring our home here and make another country be like we want it to be. So there's this freedom of travel. So this is a good time to travel, and I am a poster person for this because I travel a lot. But this year I haven't traveled that much. I've only done one short trip. I traveled 7 months last year. This year I've done one short trip to Esalen to just a West Coast trip. And now I'm going to Europe. And it's interesting, I'm leaving at the end of May, but I'm actually starting a cruise right on June 3rd. And I'm ending all of my travels arriving home on June 17th, which I'm going to talk about in just a second, which is the full moon. And the irony of it is that when it comes to this kind of thing, if it's Mercury retrograde, I'll pay attention to it because I'm so affected by energies. But other than Mercury retrograde, I won't really notice for my travels. So it's very amusing to me when I notice that a cruise I'm doing starts in Europe, starts on the 3rd, and then I'm going to keep on traveling, and how I'm ending my travels, I'm literally arriving in the evening on the 17th of June back home. So if you want to do something similar to that, like really traveling, I think between this new moon and the Sagittarius full moon, because Sagittarius is all about travel, you could either keep it going past that a little, or you can complete it, right? It's a completion of travel energy. That's up to you, because Sagittarius is the traveler. Okay, so that's enough for the new moon. I really emphasize the new moon far more than the full moon, because the full moon is more of a culmination. The new moon is where you bring in your heart, your creativity, your rituals, and depending on what you put in to the new moon, like putting seeds in the ground, is what you'll get out at the full moon, which is what we call Purna, P-U-R-N-A, Purna in Sanskrit in the yogic world, which means fullness, ripeness. It's sort of their word for perfection, which is more about being ripe rather than being, it's like when a fruit is perfect because it's just ready to drop off the tree because it's so perfect. Well, that's what's happening in a full moon. We're coming to this culmination point. So for the first half of the month, I want you to feel into the intentions and the Gemini energy. And then on June 17th at 1:31 a.m. Pacific, we're going to have a Sagittarius full moon. Sagittarius. Sagittarius makes me want to dance because that is the energy of Saggy. It's an energy of joy, an energy of expansion. It's very easy for me, for instance, to say Gemini, throat. But for Sag, it's not that easy. And this month in particular, what my guides were showing me was Sagittarius is a fire sign, a fun and frolicking fire sign. So I'm saying solar plexus for the fire, but light fun, the light side of solar plexus, not the hardcore warrior fighting side of the solar plexus. Got that? The feminine side, which leads me also to our second chakra for the full moon is the sacral, the joyful, the water, playful, divine feminine. That's in there too, that joy of the Sag. And then finally, the upper chakras, the 6th or the 7th, depending on how you feel it, which is just the allness, your connection to the all, bigger ideas, a sense of oneness, a sense of purpose, a sense of universality. These are the things. So if you're going to wear my tattoos on the second half of the month after the 17th, you might want to work on 2nd and 3rd chakra, which is water and fire, creates steam, which by the way is real good partners. If you have partners, I always recommend, if you're in a heterosexual partnership, I'm just going to comment on that right now because that's all I have the time for right now, but a woman can wear the lower feminine chakras, the 2 and the 4, but especially the 2, the sacral, and the man can wear the root and the solar plexus, and it just creates more dynamic chemistry. Yes, I said it. So, but you can create that chemistry within yourself by really emphasizing the 2nd chakra and 3rd chakra within you, because when you emphasize those 2 chakras, you get passion energy, joy energy, fun energy, and that's what's coming. So when the 17th comes around, I'm going to recommend that you check in with the intentions that you set from what we talked about, that you set, the Gemini throat chakra intentions that you set. See where they're at. And then begin to focus the rest of the month on this passionate, fun, celebratory, expansive energy. Now, of course, we have a solstice on the 21st. I believe I'm pretty darn close, within the minutes or so, 54 a.m. Pacific on the 21st, we have a solstice. Now, that's Pacific because the solstice is the same time all around the world. But in the northern hemisphere, it means we're having our longest day of the year. So what better time to feel your sacral and solar plexus, sun energies, turning into joy and celebration than the longest day of the year, and the expansion of your crown and your third eye. That's just fantastic. So that's what we're looking at for, got a helicopter. So I'm just going to say that helicopter is underlining this energy, this expansive flying energy, which is in the second half of June. And unless, and this is the challenge, I like this, if you are in the southern hemisphere, it's your shortest day of the year. It's your winter solstice. So if you're in that, I'm going to invite you, with the Sagittarius moon energy having just gone by, I'm going to invite you to go within, because that's important in this darker time. Go within. But as you go within, feel the flame within. Like, feel the expansion that is in the contraction within you. Now, that doesn't always make sense, but if you really meditate on that and you feel like you have a whole cosmos of stars inside of you and you meditate. So if you're in the southern hemisphere, I'm going to suggest that you meditate, go within, go into more of the darkness. And then inside of that darkness, feel the unlimited potential and unlimited life joy that's within you. And if you're in the northern hemisphere, I'm going to suggest that you literally go out and blossom, because that's what flowers do in the summer, right? And it's the first day of summer. Go out and just really spread your wings and fly and blossom. And continue that on for the rest of the month. Let the last part, the last days of June be all about Sagittarian celebration of the larger picture and gratitude, connection to others, joy to be alive, looking at the passions, the things that make you really happy, and communicating a lot as well here. So there's a communication theme that goes all the way through the whole month. And not just communication with others, but communication with yourself as well. I'm seeing that. So this is the energy forecast for June. It feels really, really good to me. It feels like we've got all kinds of possibilities to set wonderful intentions right at the beginning of the month on the 3rd of June, and to help them come to fruition and to enjoy a super expansive second half of the month after the Sagittarius full moon, and a big celebratory solstice, no matter which hemisphere you're in, right? So thank you for joining me for this video. I'm Vicki Howie of chakraboosters.com. I'm so glad you're here, and I will see you on the next video. Blessings.